Excuse me,
Eyes open.
Eyes are open.
where can a handsome pig like myself find some nice macho t-shirts with sweet little mice on them?
Down the street there on the right.
Thank you.
The merchandise sold within a Disney theme park has long been a cornerstone of the company's revenue. Yet, in recent years, these products have drawn significant criticism from fans, myself very much included. More than just quality is the issue, it's the variety of designs available and the lack of anything really unique that seems to be the big issue. So, what exactly is going wrong? Disney's branding is iconic. Their characters are unarguably the most recognizable in the world. Thanks to this, Disney has seen a lot of success in licensing these characters out to outside companies. Now, this isn't a particularly new phenomenon, but the incredible frequency and lack of scrutiny towards who they are licensing to has become a massive issue today. With a world-renowned brand like Disney, reputation is incredibly important. While the proliferation of Disney-branded products may seem like a savvy business move, it has created several unintended consequences that negatively impact the brand. At worst, these partnerships result in a lack of consistency and quality control, actively harming the reputation of products associated with the Disney brand. But to be completely honest, it's not like the quality of the merchandise available in the parks is much better these days. Now, growing up, I certainly didn't get all of my souvenirs from the parks. A trip to Bargain World was an essential part of my Florida vacation. These Orlando classic stores offered an array of questionably licensed merchandise for cheap, or at least much cheaper than in the parks. But what they sold never competed. There would always be a few things that I just had to get from the theme parks, and today I'm beyond glad that I did. The merchandise I still have from the 2000s is so good, and it's still more than holding up. In fact, many have even shifted to buying vintage theme park merchandise rather than any of the new stuff. I know I've certainly bought a couple of t-shirts off Depop myself recently. Sadly, today, Disney, like most large corporations, are more than happy to opt for bulk manufacturing, which typically results in very poor quality products. It isn't rare to find inconsistent prints, colouring, and paint upon t-shirts, mugs, and figurines. Then, along with this, a conversation about the ethics of Disney's merchandise manufacturing is barely ever had. No worse or better than the places they are licensing to, quality or ethical manufacturing don't seem to be things that Disney really feel the need to associate their brand with. Profit is all that really matters to Disney, it would seem. But then why not make some more interesting designs that feel unique? Because surely it's these things that would best sell within their parks, right? Well, exclusivity is one of the key ways to get things to sell. It's why limited edition or limited release collections work so well. The widespread nature of Disney branding dilutes the company's brand by removing any exclusivity associated with products featuring Disney characters. No longer just a symbol of a magical Disney park memory, Disney merchandise has more come to represent a visit to any shopping mall or even supermarket. So why bother paying high prices for a souvenir you could get anywhere? It's this widespread availability of Disney merchandise that largely led to the death of the Disney Store. Because why bother going to a specific Disney store when you can get everything you want in your weekly supermarket trip? So you might think that in order to combat these issues, Disney would be focusing their theme park merchandise upon the parks themselves. Because Mickey Mouse might be everywhere, but the Country Bears and the Tiki Birds are not. In the past, when someone traveled to a Disney park, the merchandise available felt unique to the occasion, something you could only get within the resort. In fact, more than this, each park tended to have a large array of park-specific merchandise available. But today, the Magic Kingdom gift shop looks not much different to Animal Kingdom's, Epcot, or Hollywood Studios. It doesn't even look that different to the Disney section at Primark or H&M. Perhaps most importantly for Disney, none of it is any different to what's on offer at World of Disney in Disney Springs. Once the main attraction of this shopping district, this bare-walled warehouse-like store no longer has the pull it used to. Without the experience once offered of shopping within a uniquely themed, extremely memorable Disney store, the only pull now is the merchandise itself. So if it's the same as what's in the parks, will many people bother with the trip to Disney Springs? If their schedules are in any way tight, probably not. Admittedly, Disney parks are not completely devoid of theme park specific merchandise. Attraction exit shops still sometimes offer a teeny tiny section of attraction-specific merchandise, but still, most of this can be bought elsewhere. But hey, at least it exists. Just take a wander through Memento Mori and you'll see that there's a good amount of Haunted Mansion merchandise. With this being my personal favourite attraction, I'm one of the lucky ones. Haunted Mansion, thanks to its gothic horror theme, has a pretty broad appeal. But Space Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain, and even the non-movie sequences of Pirates of the Caribbean are not so lucky. I must also point to an issue that is still present with this Haunted Mansion merchandise. Just like with the character-based merchandise within the parks, Haunted Mansion merchandise has actually found its way outside of the parks. Brands such as Hot Topic, Box Lunch, and ColourPop all sell Haunted Mansion merchandise. While I might like some of these products, it does still mess with the excitement and exclusivity of what's available within the parks. Far from the only company to fall victim to this, Hot Topic also sells some Halloween Horror Nights merchandise, which is mind-blowing as someone who has been a fan of this event since its quieter days. In fact, the complaint of non-theme park specific merchandise can also be applied to the Universal Parks, who sell movie merchandise and basically nothing that nods to their attractions. Velocicoaster is really the only exception I can currently think of here, which as the newest and one of the most popular attractions in the park, does thankfully have a small line of merchandise. But it really is hard to see why these companies take this approach when Halloween Horror Nights merchandise and Haunted Mansion merchandise flies off of shelves even outside of the parks. Perhaps, as already referenced, they really only see this as possible due to the broad appeal of horror more generally. Now, if you're watching this video, you probably experience a theme park fan echo chamber online. I know I do. When I scroll my Twitter, it's hard to believe that Disney can possibly be making sensible decisions regarding many decisions that they're making with their parks. Examples of this include bringing IP into Epcot, not renovating Journey into Imagination, and not building brand new, original, non-IP based attractions. But these decisions are far from losing the company money. Unfortunately, we have to accept that we theme park fans are not representative of the general public audience, and it's this audience that Disney parks need to appeal to make the big bucks. You and I might both long to buy merchandise that is not just attraction specific, but merchandise that celebrates attraction design itself. Personally, I want ride vehicles, Disney bins, and park-exclusive characters on everything I own. But it seems Disney don't think that this kind of thing will be popular enough to manufacture. Although I'd argue that the Figment popcorn bucket suggests otherwise, as does the small line of Disney theme park bin merchandise that have been available in the past decade or so. We've certainly seen an increase in Figment merchandise available. So hey, maybe these things will eventually expand beyond just this once Disney finally wake up. But even if Disney solved all these issues and created an incredible, high-quality line of theme park-specific merchandise, there is still another issue. That is, most of this is all available on Shop Disney. As someone in the UK, I can go online and order Disneyland and Walt Disney World merchandise, no problem. Plus, similar to my earlier complaints about the merchandise all being the same across different parks, it's all the same across different resorts. It's always been a case that the same, or at least very similar designs would be available in a Disneyland and Walt Disney World version, but I see no reason why I should be able to buy Cars Land merchandise in Walt Disney World or Remy's Ratatouille Adventure merchandise at Disneyland. Thankfully, non-US parks merchandise is far more exclusive, although as someone in the UK, I can also go on Shop Disney and buy just as much merchandise from Disneyland Paris. I can't bring up the international parks without quickly noting that, for the most part, they are not a part of this conversation. The Asia parks have extremely different and exclusive merchandise. Most of this is character focused, although there is still far more attraction specific merchandise on offer. Plus, most of these characters are the park exclusive Duffy and Friends. The merchandise available at Disneyland Paris is more in line with Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World, though I have seen some impressive attraction specific merchandise start to appear on the shelves over the last couple of years, and there's certainly more exclusivity here than in the US. In the US parks, there is no real exclusivity. Instead, to boost sales, Disney manufactures a full sense of exclusivity with many of their product ranges. Disney have absolutely mastered the art of creating a sense of urgency around its merchandise. More than just holiday exclusives or the classic limited edition pin, today range is based around a single colour as seasonally changed at such a rapid rate. With this, many feel the need to get them quickly before they are gone. Now, I just mentioned the limited edition pin, and pin trading, which turns 25 this year, has been something I've personally participated in pretty much from the start. But even the excitement of this has been diminished for many. Pin designs just aren't as cool as they used to be. Even here, characters take priority over attractions. That's not to say that there are no cool pin collections anymore, but it has been a long time since I, a mostly park-specific pin collector, have been compelled to collect an entire pin series. I do fear that pin trading may be going in the same direction as Vinylmations did all those years ago. That is to say, the market is being flooded with poor designs, sucking the joy out of collecting for many. Now, as I already said, Disney is far from the only culprit. As Universal Parks, attraction-specific merchandise pretty much does not exist. Like Disney, their merchandise is also very character-focused. So it's odd to me that I can visit other theme parks around the world and find lines of roller coaster specific merchandise. But merchandise for the highly themed, story-based dark rides at these parks barely exists. I look to places like Efteling where I can buy attraction room scents and ride model Christmas decorations, and I simply can't understand why Disney don't offer things like this. Even your average Six Flags park has more attraction-specific merchandise than Disney. Despite my greater nostalgia for Disney and the far larger amounts of merchandise on offer, I know I personally purchased much more on my recent visit to Efteling than Walt Disney World. Disney's merchandise really is just another thing that helps hammer home that we hardcore fans are not their most important demographic. Instead, it's the more casual tourists that Disney needs to sell to. But I do hope that we can see a better balance of merchandise available in the future. But right now, I'm not too optimistic. Let me know, what do you think of Disney's theme park merchandise these days? Is there anything you particularly love, or are there some particularly bad things that you want to point out in the comments? Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and check out my links in the description.